Hello everybody, this is Money Mom. It's Thursday night. Welcome back to the channel. I have a question. Were your parents and are your parents frugal, and how were you raised to think about money? Let's get started. As you know, I was raised in Minnesota. My dad is still alive. He's 80 years old. He lives in Phoenix, Arizona. My mom, or Sun City, close to Phoenix. My mom, blessed memory, passed away a couple years ago. My parents were raised very differently and in very different environments. If you could pick the most opposite people, it was my parents, that's for sure. My dad, growing up, he was a truck driver, and he is a teamster, still is a teamster, I guess. And my mom was a homemaker. She did hair before she met my dad, and was a hairdresser. My dad was a saver. My mom was more of a spender. My dad was big into trying to prepare for things, save, because he was the one that managed all the money, the finances. So he really liked to make sure we had a good emergency fund. Both of my parents did everything around the home themselves. They rarely did hire anyone to do any type of projects. We bought all of our cars used and paid cash. The only thing that we ever maybe charged was on a Sears card. We would maybe charge like an appliance if we needed it, but Dad paid it off pretty quickly. I just remember having a Sears card. I also remember getting my clothes from Sears. I don't know if you guys ever ordered from Sears Robot Catalog, but that was another special memory from the 70s. But anyway, like I said, my dad was fairly frugal, and he was a big believer in saving. He was also a big believer in preparing for your future. He was a teamster, so he basically kept saying to me, Dawn, get a job with benefits, get a job with a pension plan. Of course, this is in the 1970s when there were a lot of pensions and a lot of jobs had pensions and excellent benefits. And as I was graduated from college, there were some of that with teaching and things, but there wasn't as much of that as prevalent. Mom and Dad did not always see eye to eye about money. For example, at the grocery store, my dad gave my mom a $100 budget a week, and this is back in the 80s. Mom a lot of times went over that because she liked high quality foods, and she liked everything name brand. She didn't coupon, and sometimes she would buy more than what our family would need. So sometimes she would go over that $100, and if my dad went grocery shopping for her, he would buy generics, and Mom didn't like the generics. She liked her name brand type things. We also shopped at Byerly's, which was a more expensive grocery store in Woodbury, and they would, put your groceries in the car for you. So it was a little bit different. Mom was also very, very generous, and she liked to buy gifts for people. She'd like to send cards for people all the time. She was always thinking of other people. She loved to entertain and have people over for meals, and she'd make really nice meals. Well, that stuff could get kind of costly sometimes. And it's not that my dad wasn't generous, but my dad was always trying to prepare for a rainy day. And since my mom didn't take care of the budget or the money and didn't foresee what was coming up, she didn't always see those things like Dad did. So sometimes there was a little bit, because my mom wasn't involved with the planning of the budget. That's why I feel it's so important for both the husband and the wife to be on the same page when it comes to money. So that's kind of where I was learning. The big thing that I learned from my family is really prepare for a rainy day. And if you can, really try to get a job that has some kind of benefits, health insurance, and to really just try the best you can to be very insured for life insurance, health insurance, and all of that. That's basically how I was raised. Unfortunately, I've taken a lot of that advice, but because I'm an independent contractor, it's made it a little more challenging. To be totally honest, there's been many times in my life, because of expense, that I haven't had health insurance. I do now, but I haven't always. So this is just some of the things that I've learned. I'd like to know how your parents raised you to think about money. Were your parents on the same page? Were they a little bit different? That's number one. Also, I want to tell you, I got to speak to someone on the phone tonight that is what I would consider her semi-famous. I will just say that she's written some books, and when I tell you about the conversation tomorrow, you will know who I am talking about. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to do that tonight, but then I will upload that video tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I love you a lot. Bye-bye.